In 1982, a film was released that, although at first may have seemed to be one of the worst performing box office films of that year, slowly over time became a huge cult classic that influenced aspects of literature, games, music, and other forms of media as we know it. This film is known as Blade Runner. Blade Runner was directed by Ridley Scott, written by Hampton Fancher and David Peoples, and was produced by Michael Deeley. It's a neo-noir sci-fi film and was based off of Philip K. Dick's novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, published in 1968. The film itself takes some liberty from the book it is based off of and is set in the year 2019 in Los Angeles. The Earth is decrepit and slowly dying, and technology has advanced so far to where artificial life can be created. These artificial life forms are called replicants, and are stronger, faster, and smarter than most humans depending on the model. But these replicants can only live 4 years as a safety precaution due to an off-world colony revolt. It is from this revolt that birthed the Blade Runners, whose task it was to retire any rogue replicants. Replicants were soon declared illegal on Earth, except for work in the places they were made and off-world colonies. The story starts off with a murder by a replicant, and it is then later revealed that a group of replicants have sought asylum on Earth to find their creator Tyrell to be granted a longer lifespan. Meanwhile, an ex-Blade Runner hunts them down, and in the process, Deckard meets a Nexus 6 model, who doesn't know she is a replicant because of implanted memories and a natural lifespan. Slowly but surely, she comes to grasp with being a replicant and falls in love with Deckard, and eventually she goes missing. Finally, Deckard retires 3 of the 4 replicants and soon confronts Roy, the leader of the group, and faces off. But in the end, Roy comes to terms with his own mortality as he dies from the replicant lifespan. The chief then requests Rachel to be retired for being AWOL, and Deckard refuses to retire her and runs away with her because he is also in love with her. The film has so many compelling elements that can be enjoyed even to this day, such as set design, editing, cinematography, and sound design. All these elements were executed in a certain way to create this masterpiece. The film in itself is stunning and tells an amazing story. Although there is one scene in the entire movie that stands out among the rest of them that made me rethink the whole intention and message of the movie. I am of course talking about the scene Tears in the Rain. Let's break it down together, shall we? To preface, the scene leading up to this, Deckard retired the remaining 3 replicants. Roy was unable to increase his lifespan and wanted to get revenge on Deckard for killing his friends and love interest, but he is starting to die.
Quite an experience to live in fear, isn't it? That's what it is to be a slave. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I watched C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. All those moments will be lost in time, like tears in rain. Time to die.
I don't know why he saved my life. Maybe in those last moments he loved life more than he ever had before. Not just his life. Anybody's life. My life. All he'd wanted were the same answers the rest of us want. Where do I come from? Where am I going? How long have I got? All I could do was sit there and watch him die.
Some of the first things we see here is the lighting and set design. The scene is minimally lit with blue lights suggesting a cold, dreary outcome. The rain also adds to this effect as well. The cinematography is also quite extraordinary, how it transforms from being a panic intense moment for Deckard struggling for his life to a calm and still moment when Roy goes into his monologue and dies in the end. Add this with the non-diegetic music, and the scene almost finds a peace within itself, as does Roy. With the shot composition later within the scene, it is kept close and tight to the face to show emotions on both Roy and Deckard's face, creating an intimate relation with the viewer. This effect makes us relate to each of the characters, creating sympathy. Now, if we look at the scene a little deeper, the thematic elements in the scene create a very poetic resolve for this movie. When Roy first begins to talk to Deckard as he is struggling on the girder, he talks about living in fear, and how that's what it's like to live as a slave, relating to what replicants must go through, and how every day they are fearful, even though they are stronger, smarter, and faster than most humans. This also gives way to an underlying theme of how the humans have turned into machines, and the machines have turned into humans. The replicants live with emotions. Granted, that emotion is childlike, but does that deny the validity of them? Does their crave for freedom have any base, even though they don't have a soul? Does making them want to live longer fault them? Then we see that Roy has witnessed death of his friends and comrades. We see him of all things save Deckard, again enforcing the idea that replicants are more human than humans themselves. But then we get to why the scene is really important. One of the most memorable monologues ever, the Tears in the Rain monologue. I could probably make a 30-minute video on why this monologue is so important to this movie, and why it is so memorable. I'll keep it short, however. The monologue in and of itself is quite poetic. It starts off simply, "I've seen things you people wouldn't believe." This whole statement, as simple as it is, has so much depth within it. Within the 4-year lifespan Roy has lived, he has experienced so much and been through so much more than most humans have been, and that he has truly lived a life worth living. He then talks about how he has seen attack ships on fire and C-beams glitter in the dark. For those of you wondering, C-beams are a type of weapon in space combat that are a particle beam, essentially. He found beauty in this tragedy, in this war, and in this violence, and that these are his own genuine memories. He can look back on it and appreciate the beauty within. He then realizes that even though he's seen these things, and these moments are his, that he has witnessed, they are small, and can be easily lost in time and forgotten amongst all the other events and happenings in the universe. Exactly like tears in the rain. He then dies while letting out a dove to represent that he is free from this world, from the pain, and even though it may seem tragic, it wasn't. It was peaceful, and it was on his own terms. This whole scene depicts some Christian symbology. For example, the nail in the hand, like Jesus on the cross. This can be related to Roy's sacrifice, and the doves are also a common Christian symbol representing peace. Towards the end of the scene, we see Deckard face Roy, as we see Roy dying there. As he contemplates what Roy has done, as he could have easily killed Deckard, or let him die hanging off the girder. Deckard, confused, acknowledges that Roy appreciated life in his final moments more than any moment ever, and that replicants are more than just slaves. They are creatures with genuine emotions, fears, and insecurities. They are simply human with human desires and cravings. This scene is a crucial turning point for Deckard and the story itself, as it shows that replicants aren't bad. Human greed is bad. It is because of these things that this whole scene is memorable and deep, with just a simple monologue and a few shots lit correctly. This has been my breakdown of the Tears in the Rain scene, and I hope you have enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.